why would Iran agree to any peace deal if the United States has already pulled out of one that they had, as President Trump did in 2018, and now has launched 2 surprise attacks? Both Israel and the United States have done so. There is such a massive trust deficit there. How could you possibly come to
but the trust deficit started with Iran.
I know.
Well, the trust deficit, the ones that shouldn't be trusted are the Iranians, because they're the ones that sponsor terrorism. Did they forewarn us before they blew up the embassy in Lebanon and killed over 200 American servicemen? Did they forewarn us before they built IEDs and blew the legs and arms off of American servicemen in Iraq? I mean, these are the people that are doing this forever. They're the ones that no one should trust. They're the ones that have lied about their nuclear program.
But
they're the ones that have hidden things from the international organisms.
But that sounds like we're headed towards regime change, where the desire to get these people out of power.
No.
Are you?
No. A serious foreign policy is one that's focused on identifying what our national interest is. You don't have to like the regime. There are a lot of regimes around the world that we don't like, okay? But in this particular case, what we are focused on is not the changing of the regime. Okay, that's up to the Iranian people if they want to do that, but that's not what we're focused on. Our national interest is about one thing, and that is Iran not getting anywhere near the capability to weaponize and have nuclear weapons. They're not going to get anywhere near that capability. The president has made that clear from day one. Our preference for solving that problem, that very specific problem, is through diplomacy. We've said that. We've given it every opportunity. They played games. They tried delay tactics. They're trying delay tactics now on the Europeans because of the snapback provisions.
When did
and you
the
talk about
president
the JCPOA, that was a crazy deal.
When did the president,
president.
For the Americans at home who are going, are we at war? You know, I'm trying to suss out some of the facts here. So why would Iran agree to any peace deal if the United States has already pulled out of one that they had, as President Trump did in 2018, and now has launched 2 surprise attacks? Both Israel and the United States have done so. There is such a massive trust deficit there. How could you possibly come to
but the trust deficit started with Iran.
I know.
Well, the trust deficit, the ones that shouldn't be trusted are the Iranians, because they're the ones that sponsor terrorism. Did they forewarn us before they blew up the embassy in Lebanon and killed over 200 American servicemen? Did they forewarn us before they built IEDs and blew the legs and arms off of American servicemen in Iraq? I mean, these are the people that are doing this forever. They're the ones that no one should trust. They're the ones that have lied about their nuclear program.
But
they're the ones that have hidden things from the international organisms.
But that sounds like we're headed towards regime change, where the desire to get these people out of power. Are you?
No. A serious foreign policy is one that's focused on identifying what our national interest is. You don't have to like the regime. There are a lot of regimes around the world that we don't like, okay? But in this particular case, what we are focused on is not the changing of the regime. Okay, that's up to the Iranian people if they want to do that, but that's not what we're focused on. Our national interest is about one thing, and that is Iran not getting anywhere near the capability to weaponize and have nuclear weapons. They're not going to get anywhere near that capability. The president has made that clear from day one. Our preference for solving that problem, that very specific problem, is through diplomacy. We've said that. We've given it every opportunity. They played games. They tried delay tactics. They're trying delay tactics now on the Europeans because of the snapback provisions.
When did
you
the
talk about
president
the JCPOA, that was a crazy deal.
When did the president?
Well, I don't know how anybody could have been surprised at this. I think President Trump certainly telegraphed it. He said he was going to make his decision in a couple of weeks. I certainly understand why President Trump would not share that information with the Democrats in Congress. And again, the operational security is just so crucial to protect our servicemen and women. I didn't need notice. I've been saying for over a week, it'll be the president's decision. I will support that decision because we cannot allow Iran, the largest state sponsor of terror, to become a nuclear power, and that's what they wanted to be.
Parliamentarian, it's clear that there is no congressional authorization for Trump's war against Iran. And I have filed a resolution that I think will get a vote later this week. I thank Senator Schumer for pushing that we have a vote on this as soon as possible. And we will have all members of the Senate have to declare whether or not the U.S. should be at war with Iran. It's unconstitutional for a president to initiate a war like this without Congress. Every member of Congress needs to vote on this.
I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents.
Up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked on the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that is
everything
the
they
key
need to build a
point
weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
the political decision had not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
you don't
I'm
know,
asking you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No. They're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but
so
that's
they can
a
one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent. And you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do
state
you know
and
what the
use this
intelligence
leverage.
assessment says?
I'm talking about
what
the
the
public
intelligence assessment
March
says?
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from
but
March.
that's also
if
an
order
inaccurate
was
representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Now, forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
Right.
If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon.
Right.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They
Understood.
have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms, they have the enrichment capability, they have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already.
How does this affect Russia? I've got 84 co-sponsors for a Russian sanctions bill that is an economic bunker buster against China, India, and Russia for their brutal invasion, Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine. I think that bill's going to pass. We're going to give President a waiver. It'll be a tool in his toolbox to bring Putin to the table.
Is it time to vote on that bill?
It's time to vote. Putin is getting worse, not better. Give the president a bunker buster tool economically to get Putin to the table. Putin is more aggressive, not less. It's time to change tactics when it comes to Putin.
All right. You and President Trump trust the U.S. intelligence community and its assessments?
Oh, of course we trust our intelligence community, but we also trust our instincts, and most importantly, we trust what the intelligence was telling us about the Iranians stonewalling the negotiation. I think that is really the hidden story here, and something the media has got to report a little bit more here, is that the Iranians stopped negotiating in good faith. That was the real catalyst, I think, to what the president ultimately decided to do. If we were having a productive negotiation, I think that this could have gone in a much different pathway. Unfortunately, the Iranians decided to stonewall us, and we saw the consequences of that last night.
Mr. Vice President.
And I heard your interview with Secretary Rubio. He's saying, well, we want a peace deal. We want to make sure that Iran can enrich uranium through civil purposes. Well, we had that. We had that at the JCPOA, and there was not a single violation that the IAEA found during that time. So my question, I guess, is now you're going to force Iran to go covertly in developing this nuclear material. Now you've put American troops at risk. Now you're wasting billions of our dollars because we're sending more troops to the Middle East. What did you accomplish, and why are you oblivious to the American people who are sick of these wars?
But Congressman.
Now, Thomas is absolutely right in showing courage. I mean, the headlines all across this country says the United States enters war with Iran. He is actually representing a lot of the people in the MAGA base, people like Steve Bannon, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Theo Von, who has had them on, who's saying, we don't want this war.
A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, and it's a vote for war, more war, likely World War III and nuclear war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them, and who has demonstrated already that he has the courage and strength to stand up and fight for peace.
Iran and North Korea are cooperating on nuclear and missile development. Do you think there is a possibility that Iran, North Korea, and the other forces, such as China, will join forces to retaliate against the United States?
Well, unfortunately, because of the policies under the previous administration, we drove those countries together, and ultimately that creates a challenging environment. For this particular operation, the focus is on Iran and Iranian nuclear capabilities. That's our focus here, is to not just say that they can't have, but President Trump has said from over 20 years, frankly, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And ultimately, he decided this is the moment, given their stonewalling, when direct military action had to be taken to prevent that from happening.
In particular, God, I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump at the White House with Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Geez, trips. I don't know how to say this. Gather around for history in the making. Donald Trump has just won the very first ever, slip your hands together, Nobel Peace Award. That is Nobelpiece. For deliberately making more noise and progress and leaving the world a little less peaceful, but a lot more confused. It's not the Nobel Peace Prize. That one requires, peace. This one is for the guy who rings everybody's doorbell at 3 in the morning and then runs away shouting, "Biggest crowd ever!" Bad impression. Melania nominated him purely because the acceptance tour means he'll be out of Mar-a-Lago for 6 blessed weeks. She even thanked the ghost of fake news past, who apparently co-signed the paperwork. Rudy Giuliani misplaced his signature along with his law license. Auto pen Giuliani, yeah. Anyway, now you'd think Fox News would throw a ticker-tape breaking news parade. Instead, Greg Gutted Gutfield and Sean Hannity, see no evil, buried the story like it was one of Trump's tax returns or the health policy or something like that. Gutfield devoted 10 solid minutes to whether pineapple belongs on pizza, presumably because it's, Greg, it's easier to digest than explaining why your hero just won an award for Chaos Karaoke. Meanwhile, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, the influencer, is road-testing excuses like she's auditioning for a Shark Tank. We've always supported bowelless peace initiatives. Even worse impression. She can't even pretend she's never heard of Sabrina Carpenter, unlike Kaylee Word Salad McEnany.
So I don't know who Sabrina Carpenter is.
She's not heard of Please. Anyway. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face. Speaking of man-children, Vice President J.D. Vance tried to steal the show by calling Senator Alex Padilla Jose Padilla. Yes, the terrorist from the Bush-era newsreels. Unbelievable. This guy's crazy. When reporters gasped, Vance doubled down and blamed Gavin Newsom, California's smog, and probably Meghan Markle's podcast. I don't know, sort of excuse they come up for. The White House is praying the Nobel story distracts from that xenophobic faceplant. I don't know.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is we're being told this is, I think, anywhere from just shy of 200 to 300 feet in depth. There are all kind of reports out there of 1,000 foot, but I think that's more propaganda. So what you end up doing is if you saw the movie, the latest Top Gun movie, eerily enough, this is that plot kind of coming to fruition in real life. It's not just one bomb. It'll be a bomb after a bomb to get through that penetration.
And just lastly, that's what you're talking about. Can penetrate up to 200 feet below the surface. And then, of course, we'll see it try and put the second one in there and go down in there. Yeah. Let's bring in David Burke, our Top Gun and former Top Gun instructor, retired U.S. Marine Corps officer. Now, David, I don't know how well we did that, but you know this better than anybody. Talk to us about, questions over whether or not this can successfully be done.
Joey Jones just crushed that explanation. You guys hit the nail on the head. So really well done. This absolutely can be done. There is not a cave in the world deep enough to defend itself against the American military if it needs to hit it. And you described the weapon system and the aircraft and the mating of that exactly right. Now, this is a hard problem to solve, but it is absolutely a solvable problem with this system.
Anyway, over at Mar-a-Lago, Trump is polishing the new trophy. The guy's got no shape. Looks suspiciously like a gold cowbell glued to a Sharpie. He's already truthing, that he's the first, the best. Many people are saying the only recipient. Scientists warn the plaque emits such concentrated ego that standing too close may erase your internet search history. Yeah. Talking to remember about Greg Gutted a minute ago, even his writers couldn't spin it. One staff allegedly asked, "Can we swap bow for swamp and pretend it's about draining something?" I think Gutfield's replied, Gutted replied, "Only if you drain your last paycheck," or something like that.
In particular, God, I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump at the White House with Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Is that show funny? Anyway, here we are. A president honoured for ringing alarms without ever fixing a fire. That's true. The Nobel Committee gives medals for ceasefires. The No-Bow Committee gives them for seizing headlines. In fairness, Trump has united the world. Everyone agrees they're exhausted. Cue the orchestra of broken doorbells as our winner approaches the stage. Confetti cannons loaded with NDAs. Congratulations, Mr. President. You finally got a prize no one else wanted. For a legacy, well, no historian can explain without footnotes and therapy. A long dose of therapy. The Nobel Peace Prize! No bow, no peace, just one giant piece of...
These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. And this horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Large sections of the Middle East. I mean, look at the death and destruction that's taken place. And none of this would have happened if I were president. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. But the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan and across the country want a stop to the endless wars and a return to peace in the Middle East. That's all they want. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me, but we won't have. I will be sure that World War III will not happen. I'm the only one can say it won't happen. But I stand here today, and I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States. America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail.